folks. This is your host, RJ Perry, and you are listening to Campus Spotlight, the exclusive radio station of IIT Palakkad. It's August 15th, and 73 years back this day, India had become independent. Today also marks an important milestone for us. Campus Spotlight, in its first collaboration with Akshar, brings to you a new podcast series, Kahaniyon Ka Silsila. Let's hear the first story of this venture, Martyred or Murdered, by Anand Sharma and Abhishek Saran.
All trifles into, for me, events of immense importance and which I do consider of no significance once I take away the secret note which explains it.
Sir, we will reach the base by the dusk. Inform the Jawan. Thanks for the update, soldier. I nodded, still confided in my very own thoughts about the purpose worth dying for. I leaned towards my fellow soldiers, playing one of the childhood games, who were now on the verge of exhaustion. They were playing one of the never ending games. Guess what? Yeah, Antakshari. It was a long journey, and the platoon was feeling lethargic, so they started singing in unison, good old Bollywood songs, and in no more than 5 minutes, it turned out to be a battle of who knows more. You guys know a lot of songs, I mocked them. They started to laugh in amusement. Major, do you like this game, or are you afraid that you will lose it to us? Said Captain Rajvardhan Singh in a satirical manner. Yes, Captain. I am an old man, but with a young mind who only craves to win real battles. It brings glory to my title. I replied. But it wasn't a perfect reply to a satire. You are narrating the character you are reading, sir, pointed out Lieutenant Balwant Singh, and the random laughs did burst out. The lieutenant was rich with humor. What are you reading today, sir? Would you enlighten the novice Jawans? He asked again. I started reading out the paragraph which had held my thoughts since the morning. After my death, no one will find in my papers the least information about what has really filled my life. Find the inscription of my innermost being, which explains everything. And what? More often than not, mix what the world would call trifles into. For me, events of immense importance, and which I too consider of no significance once I take away the secret note which explains it. But what does this all mean, Major? One of the constable who seemed confused, which was the most general response to such excerpts, asked. Let me ask you one question, soldiers. Are you afraid of death? No, sir. They all hail in unison, as according to the very ritual. But aren't you afraid of the unlikely way it might come to you? I said while slowing down my voice. What do you say, Captain? Well, to be honest, sir, I fear death, said Captain, and I grinned for the first time since morning. Actually, sir, I only fear death by a plane crash. When I was a kid, I saw 9/11 attack and got so scared that I promised myself not to travel by airplane ever. I fear snakes, said one of the lieutenant. My father died due to a snake bite when he was watering the crops in the night shift at the age when I was only 13. Sir, I would like to die by headshot. It would be so sudden that I would never get a chance to regret my life. I don't want to feel any pain in the last moments of my life. I have seen my grandfather suffering from lung cancer. It is agonizing to see, and to suffer while dying. I don't want that kind of death, not at all, spoke another lieutenant. Only those who hold good fortune die by headshot soldiers. It's so fascinating. Anyone else? I looked for the secret note in the lost eyes of my fellow soldiers. Sir, I fear losing my life by a grenade or a missile or a bomb. Someone sitting in the corner spoke up. Anything that explodes, actually. I remember my uncle when he was martyred in Kargil. Only a few pieces of his body were brought back home to his family. My aunt couldn't even look at his face for the last time because of what was left, which was just pieces of human meat. At least I would like to go in a single piece on my deathbed. We don't have an option to choose how to die on a battlefield, soldier, but the blooded body overcomes all the joy one could expect from life. I took a long sigh, remembering the good old scars. Balwant Singh, what about you? What bothers you? I asked when I noticed his head down. Sir, I've never thought of dying. I don't think of dying because the thought of dying freezes me. I'm quite fine like this, living in the present. Carpe diem, sir. I know that someday some bullet will take a wrong path, but enter my body with pride and leave me content in the long silence. So I know the outcome. I just don't want to think about my death to let it interrupt the present. Captain Rajvardhan, who now seemed intrigued more than me, turned around to look for his friend and asked mockingly, Vikasji, how would you like to die? From a broken heart, I guess, I said in a successful attempt to lighten up the environment. Captain Vikas jumped up from his position and squatted down. Arre sir, you are so good at guessing. I always wished never to die unmarried. Next month, I'm getting engaged. And then by the mid of June, I will get married. Oh, nice captain. Happy married life in advance. Don't forget to invite us, huh? I congratulated him. Major, finally your turn, said Captain Rajvardhan Singh in excitement. I don't think so that he fears death. He was part of the Kargil war. That would have made him tougher, said Lieutenant Balwant Singh. Actually, you are partially right, Lieutenant. I do not fear death, I replied. I'm just scared of the thought that I would die unnamed. No one would remember my death. I fear being forgotten. I've been part of Kargil, and yet I know a lot of people who laid their lives and still their memories have faded from the minds of the people. I don't want to die because of any disease or a heart attack, because of some injury. I want to die in a war field. There was absolute silence in the convoy. A soldier does not die when he is shot. He dies when he is forgotten. Thousands and lakhs of people have offered their lives for this motherland. But how many of those who are sitting in their homes and relaxing in air conditioning ever think of them? Putting up a picture merely on Instagram or WhatsApp status or writing long paragraphs to justify their love for the country seems to become the modern definition of patriotism. But where are these hypocrites when someone like us needs some help? When the families are dying of hunger because their only earning son got martyred? Who will do justice to those widows who lost their husbands on the border for the nation and its people? Will justice only be given to those who can tweet on Twitter? एक हाथ से बर्गर खाते हुए और दूसरे हाथ में फोन लिए न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ेंगे कि ये इंडियन आर्मी पाकिस्तानी को बम फेंक कर क्यों नहीं खत्म कर देती है? सर इंग्लिश सर. Sorry, Captain. What I'm saying is, these civilians just pretend to care for us or this country. I don't want to target everyone, but especially those who are just fake and portray themselves as patriots. If they truly care for this nation, I would love them to see helping fellow countrymen who are in need. Feed the poor. Stop child labor. Ensure education for every kid. Stop justifying animal abuse. We need hard-working people and honest leaders. We don't want corrupt and dumb politicians who never speak of real issues. We don't need intolerant people who fight for petty things. And if you think that I am wrong, then there should not have been any case of mob lynching. If the country is that secular and united as they say, why do we need to quarrel among ourselves over just a Facebook or a Twitter post? Why do our sentiments hurt more than ever nowadays? If India becomes as great as it was in the past, then that would be the epitome of my dreams, and I wouldn't mind dying unnamed for the people of a country like that. But certainly not for an anti-nationalist scrolling his or her Instagram feeds in their brand new smartphones and posting their very important opinion, saying that the Indian soldiers are not brave enough to fight back the Pakistani or Chinese army. Pakistan Zindabad. Amid this long emotional war, everyone felt a huge sudden impact. Somehow, I managed to open my eyes. There was a constant harsh roaring noise in my ears. I couldn't move. Why can't I feel my right leg? It was there. My right leg was ripped apart from my body, 10 feet from my eyes. My whole body experienced severe pain, but my mind was numb. A steel rod was struck across from below the shoulders at one end and coming out of my abdomen. I just gazed around and was shocked. I was helpless. I thought it was another nightmare, but it wasn't, as the media news across the country confirmed hours later in their headlines. The army convoy targeted by the suicide bomber of Pakistan by
Prime
Jaish e
Minister Imran
Mohammed.
Khan says there'll be retaliation if India launches any military response to the recent suicide bombing in Indian-administered Kashmir. Mr. Khan says his country had nothing to do with the
गुस्सा
attack.
ऐसा कि जम्मू में लोग हिंसा पर उतारू हो गए। कई गाड़ियों को उन्होंने आग लगा दी, कई गाड़ियां उन्होंने फूंक दी। जम्मू में कर्फ्यू तक लगाने की स्थिति बन गई। फिलहाल कर्फ्यू के बीच जम्मू में तो शांति है, लेकिन देश उबल रहा है।
That day, apart from me, 39 other soldiers died. Yeah, we died. And along with us, our 40 dreams worth dying for got killed too. We did not get martyred, we were murdered. What good did we do for the nation? Did we just lose our lives for nothing? How does it feel to die unmarried? Not in a battleground, not by a gunshot, neither fighting for countrymen, just by an explosive suicide attack by terrorists? This is the secret note of Major, which explains it.
Wow, that really brought tears in my eyes. It was such a soulful and heartwarming story. Hope all of you enjoyed the first part of this series. Stay tuned to Campus Spotlight for more of such exciting stories. Until then, this is RJ Perry signing off. Peace.